Our busy draft week continues here on the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Hope all of you out there having a fantastic Sunday. We're having a great Sunday here on the show, and we've already talked about all of the prospects that the Niners drafted as part of this 2024 class. Last night, we handed out our Niners draft grades, and now we're going to wrap up draft weekend by taking a look at the Niners UDFA Tracker, all of the players in totality, and then we'll do breakdowns on all of them one by one. Two really notable names on this list. Tariq Owens, the son of Niner legend Tariq Owens, the recipient of the catch 2 in that legendary playoff game after Steve Young fit that ball inside a keyhole. And then Cody Schrader, a former walk-on, goes to Mizzou, and last year a fantastic running back who a lot of people think because of the chops and because of the makeup and the overall ability and him going to Kyle Shanahan's offense has an opportunity to potentially crack this football team. In the pre-draft process, San Francisco showing a lot of interest in Mason Pline, a tight end out of Furman. Briason, hopefully I got that pronunciation right. If I didn't, I certainly apologize. A center out of Southern Miss. Drake Nugent, center out of Michigan, playing for a Wolverines team that won a national championship last year under Jim Harbaugh, now the coach of the Chargers, and always prioritizes the offensive line, does Harbaugh. Evan Anderson getting $280,000 from the San Francisco 49ers, $30,000 just to sign. So that is practice squad money for this defensive tackle out of Florida Atlantic. And the Niners, as we know, a little bit thin at defensive tackle, and they didn't take any defensive linemen in the draft. Jaylen Mahoney, safety out of Vanderbilt, and Tanner Mordecai, a quarterback out of Wisconsin, also played at SMU, rounding out that list. Let's go through all of these players one by one, as I said that we are going to do, because I never lie to the people. And we begin with Tariq Owens, wide receiver, Missouri State, the son of Tariq Owens. He was at the local pro day for San Francisco in the pre-draft process, so he met with the Niners, and while San Francisco did not draft Luke McCaffrey, the brother of Christian, they did not draft Brendan Rice, who somehow slipped all the way to the 7th round and was drafted by the Chargers, didn't bring in Frank Gore Jr., who's going to the Bills as UDFA. They are keeping it in the family with one of the 4 who had Niner ties, in Tariq Owens, the son of Tariq Owens. His college production, very, very limited. He calls himself a late bloomer because he actually started off wanting to play basketball, was a big basketball player. This past year, his 3rd at Missouri State, he collected 528 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns across 10 games, including a season-best 140 yards and 2 touchdowns against Utah Tech on September 23rd. He compiled 765 and those 4 touchdowns across 3 seasons with the Bears from Missouri State. And Tariq Owens said, look, we just wanted an opportunity here, and that is what Tariq Owens is able to get. And certainly an intriguing story, a fun one to follow here with rookie minicamp on the heels of the NFL draft. That's the most notable name. I'd also say the most impactful could be Cody Schrader here. Very good running back out of Mizzou. Fascinating story. Highly productive season in 2023. 5'8", 202. So a little bit shorter, but he can pack a punch. Older player at 24 years old, soon to be 25 years old, but he started off at Truman State, D3 level, if I'm not mistaken. No, D2 level. He was an All-American playing at the Division II level, right? Then he walks on at Mizzou after he was at Truman State for 4 years, first-team All-American, GLVC Offensive Player of the Year. He led the NCAA in rushing at the D2 level. And then he goes to Mizzou, leads the team in rushing in 2022 with 170 carries, 745 yards, 9 touchdowns. Walked on in January of that year. So a quick turnaround for him. Then he comes back in 2023 and he hops on the draft radar for a lot of teams. 276 yards, 1,600 plus yards, 276 carries, 1,600 plus yards, 5.9 yards per carry for a Mizzou team that beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, although Ohio State had a lot of draft opt-outs in that game. 14 touchdowns. He can also catch the ball out of the backfield a little bit. 22 catches last year, a $191. He did run a 4.61 40-yard dash. If he would have clocked a 4.5, maybe a 4.4, then I think maybe he could have gotten drafted. But a well-built and sturdy frame with a lot of muscle, runs with violent leg churn, never keeps his legs moving. And I think he's going to be one of those competitive players that can turn the heads of a lot of people throughout minicamp, if he makes it to training camp, to potentially correct this roster. Because let's be real, after Christian McCaffrey, running back a little bit of a question mark. Elijah Mitchell, always injured. Jordan Mason, coaching staff doesn't seem to trust him. You drafted Isaac Orendo, 6'3", 4.3 speed, and had a nearly perfect relative athletic score, but he has to prove himself, and Cody Schrader going to have an opportunity here. Mason Pline, a player who the Niners in the pre-draft process met with, had some interest in, really, really good size at 6'6", 251 pounds, and with that size, still able to clock a 4.79 40-yard dash, 33-inch arms, solid catch radius, really good toughness, and we know that the Niners have some question marks at the tight end spot after George Kittle, and the Niners didn't draft a tight end in this draft class. Kyle Shanahan was asked at the post-draft press conference if Cam Latu is going to enter the offseason as tight end number 2 and the backup, and Kyle Shanahan said, no, we like our players to get on the practice field. Would not be surprised if Mason Pline can be in that role of a Ross Dwelly or a Charlie Warner in the foreseeable future. Center at a Southern Miss, Briason Mays, hopefully I got it right. One of the 2 times we know that San Francisco prioritized offensive line a little bit in the draft, picking up 2 offensive linemen who did not give up a sack last year. They didn't go tackle. They don't go tackle here either. 6'3", 298 pounds, played that college ball at Southern Miss. Some more UDFAs to get to. First, make sure you subscribe to the channel for year-round coverage of the San Francisco 49ers. We continue to be the largest channel that covers this team every single day from a news standpoint right here on YouTube. Stay tuned. Got to give some shout-outs to some other players whose NFL draft dreams did not come true, but still trying to make the team as UDFAs and continue their football playing lives. First, let's give a shout-out to PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. You pick 2 or more players, choose more or less on their projected stats. You can win up to 25 times your money, and you get a $100 deposit match, prizepicks.com/CLNS. And what I want everybody to do right now is type Chip Cash down in the comment section, because producer Chip cooking up this PrizePicks quadsome. He's not just a threesome guy. He's a quadsome guy. Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Maxey, more than 57.5 points. I'm sorry, I cracked myself up there. Joel Embiid, more than 10 rebounds. Kelly Oubre, more than 15.5 points. Dante DiVincenzo, less than 13.5 points. That was a part of that Knicks-Sixers playoff game in which the Sixers choked, and the Knicks take a 3-1 series advantage, but Chip Cash, cashing in. That's his nickname on these YouTube streets and what we call him at the office. Chip Cash, and we can call him Mr. Quadsome too. $100 deposit match, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Win big money, pick more, pick less. Withdraw your winnings within the PrizePicks app. A player who I'm pretty intrigued by is Tariq Nugent, center out of Michigan, 6'1", 298 pounds. He didn't run it as well as I thought he was going to. And it was a sub-5 40-yard dash, 5.23. I thought he was going to run a little bit quicker. But this is a player who started his college career at Stanford, and he is from Lone Tree, Colorado, went to Highlands Ranch, 23 years old, and started his career at Stanford. So a little bit familiar with the NorCal region, and got off to a slow start in his college career coming out of high school. First, he redshirted. And then the pandemic shortened season out in the Pac-12. What a crime that was, only playing 1 game. And then he plays 12 games in 2021, 12 games in 2022, all at the center spot. Honorable mention all Pac-12 in both of those years. Team captain in 2022 for Stanford. And then he transfers to Michigan, and he ends up winning a national championship. and was a first-team All-Big Ten member. So he has played in 42 games, 39 starts in his college career. He's efficient. He's alert. He is tough. He didn't have a lot of losses on tape, but he has to show that he can sustain against bigger, quicker defenders. And that's going to be a little bit of a tall test for him. Now to Evan Anderson. Evan Anderson had this epic video upon it being official that he was signing a UDFA deal with SAN-FRAN-CISCO. And he got the call from the Niners. Somebody is filming him at a cookout in his hometown. And he gets so excited that he puts the phone down and he does a flip into his pool. One of his buddies flips into the pool as well. And his friends and family members around him are going crazy. He's from Orlando, so I imagine he was in Florida at the time when he got that call. And this is very interesting because SAN-FRAN-CISCO is giving him $280,000, $30,000 just to sign. I could use that money too. Niners, if you want somebody to chuck the pill, I can throw it at least 50, 60 yards. So, I mean, I'll take a slight $30K if you're willing to have me sign, and I think it would do good for the channel, and we can document it, put some videos here on the Niners Report. We'll give you a little bit of cut. How about that? 6'1", for Evan Anderson. 5'3", 40-yard dash beam. Arms are a little bit shorter, but some solid production there for Evan Anderson at FAU. Another player who's very experienced, 39 games, 36 starts, 20 TFLs throughout his career, including 5.5 to go alongside 3.5 sacks in 2023. A third team All AAC, American Athletic Conference player, blocked a field goal so he can contribute on special teams on field goal duties, a team captain, and then did go to the East-West Shrine Bowl. Jaylen Mahoney, a safety, Vanderbilt. We know that the Niners addressed the safety spot with Malik Mustafa, one of the best tacklers in this draft class at the safety spot. And they're looking for depth at the safety position. You know, Talanoa Hufanga is at a contract year, and he's also coming off that torn ACL. He's going to get paid. You have Jair Brown, who you took in the 3rd round, and you're not sure what the future is of Deshaun Gibson. They checked in on players like Justin Simmons. Mahoney, 4'5'1", 40-yard dash at 5'10", 188. Tanner Mordecai, a quarterback for SAN-FRAN-CISCO. Some conflicting reports here. We're not sure if this news is official, but we're going to go ahead and put him on this list here. And you got to see what you can find out about a quarterback. You have Josh Dobbs. You have Brandon Allen. Of course, Brock Purdy is going to be the starting quarterback for this team. But Tanner Mordecai, he's got some horsepower. He's got some get-up. He can run a little bit. Pretty solid size. 6'1", 5'8", 210 pounds. Played at Wisconsin. Pretty sure he played at SMU as well. Let me just confirm those numbers. And as Reed Barkas said, rookie Reed, he's got a pretty good name too. Mordecai. Cool spelling. Sounds kind of cool too. And yes, he did play college football at SMU before going to Wisconsin, where he was able to put up some gaudy numbers at the college level. And the Niners oftentimes like to have a few quarterbacks in camp. Now, with Wisconsin, he didn't put up a lot of numbers. 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But previously to that, in 2022, 33 tutties, 10 picks. 2021, 39 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So those are the gaudy numbers that I was talking about. Pretty good completion rates in all of those years. 2021, 67.8. 2022, 65%, and 2023, 65% as well. Those 2 good years in 21 and 22, throwing for more than 3,500 yards. Also, these players invited to minicamp for SAN-FRAN-CISCO. One player, there was some chatter that maybe there was going to be more, but we're confirming that news here. Keontae Lusk, cornerback, Coastal Carolina, invited to minicamp as well. So your favorite UDFA that the Niners signed. Cody Schrader, the one that I think is the most realistic option to maybe crack this roster, because I think teams are going to fall in love with him if the Niners don't have him on the team, and I think the Niners are going to fall in love with him with the way that he plays and the way that he runs.